Have you ever wondered what actually turns a casual conversation, a simple promise, into a deal that's legally solid? Well, it's not some kind of magic. It's a really precise legal dance called offer and acceptance. And once you understand the steps, you'll see how promises turn into real, binding deals.
So what is that line? What separates a casual, "oh yeah, I'll help you with that," from a contract that a court could actually enforce? The whole answer really boils down to two key actions that we're going to dive into: a clear offer and an absolute, unconditional acceptance.
To really see how this all works, let's follow a story. Let's imagine a carpenter. We'll call him Ben. He's just finished making this gorgeous handmade desk, and he wants to sell it. His journey is basically going to be our roadmap for understanding the anatomy of a deal.
Okay, so Ben posts an ad online. It's got a great picture of the desk, a price. Now, you might think, okay, there it is. That's the offer, right? You'd assume the first person to message him saying, "I'll take it," automatically locks in the contract. But, in the eyes of the law, it's actually not quite that simple.
And this is where we hit our first really crucial legal distinction. Ben's ad isn't technically an offer. It's what the law calls an invitation to offer. He's not promising to sell it to the first person who comes along. Nope. What he's doing is inviting people to come and make him an offer, which he is then totally free to either accept or reject.
A perfect real-world example of this is just walking into any store. That price tag you see on a shirt, that's not an offer from the store to you. It's an invitation for you to bring the shirt to the counter and make an offer to buy it. The cashier taking your money, that's the store accepting your offer. It's the exact same principle for Ben's online ad.
So, a true offer, a real one, shows this clear intention to be locked into the deal the second the other person says, "I'm in." But does that mean an advertisement can never be a binding offer?
Oh, it absolutely can, and a super famous old case shows us exactly how. A company advertised this thing called a smoke ball, claiming it would prevent the flu. They were so sure, their ad made this incredibly bold promise. They'd pay £100 to anyone who got sick after using their product. Now see, that wasn't an invitation to talk. That was a direct promise to the entire world.
And you know what? It worked. A woman named Mrs. Carlisle used the smoke ball just like they said. She still got the flu. And the court made the company pay up. Why? Because the ad was what's called a general offer. Her acceptance wasn't writing a letter, it was the act of actually using the product as directed. Her actions are what sealed the deal.
So, once a real offer is on the table, the next logical step is acceptance. But it's not always as straightforward as just saying yes. Let's get back to Ben and his desk and see how these rules play out.
All right, along comes a potential buyer, Priya. She sees Ben's ad, she's interested. But she doesn't just say, "I'll buy it." She asks for a change. "I love the desk, but can you paint it black?" Now, is that her accepting the deal? Or is something else going on here from a legal point of view?
Legally, nope. That is not an acceptance. It's a textbook counteroffer. By asking to change a key part of the deal, the color, Priya has actually rejected the original deal entirely, and in its place, she's created a brand new offer. She's now the one offering to buy the desk, but only if Ben paints it black. The ball is right back in his court.
This just shows you how strict the rules for acceptance really are. It has to be a mirror image of the offer. No changes, totally absolute. You can't just stay silent. It has to be communicated. If the offer says reply by email, you can't just show up at their door. And, of course, it has to be timely. You can't wait 6 months to accept an offer to buy fresh fish, right? The offer will have expired.
Okay, so we've got our valid offer, we have a valid acceptance. But when exactly, at what precise moment does the deal become official? The second the email is sent, the moment it's read? This is where it can get a little tricky.
So let's say Ben agrees. He says, "Sure, I'll paint the desk black." He emails Priya back with this new offer, the black desk, same price. Priya is ecstatic, and she immediately replies with an email that just says, "Deal." So the big question is, when did they form a contract? When she hit send, or when Ben actually opened and read her email?
This is where a surprisingly old legal idea, the postal rule, applies even in our world of email. And the rule states that the contract is formed the moment Priya sends her acceptance, the instant it leaves her control. From that point forward, Ben is legally bound to the deal, even if his internet goes down and he never actually sees her email. It's pretty wild when you think about it.
Of course, not every offer results in a happy signed contract. A lot of deals, maybe most of them, fall apart before they're ever really formed. So let's take a quick look at all the ways an offer can just end.
Yeah,
An offer has a limited lifespan. It can be flat out rejected, it can be killed by a counteroffer like we saw Priya do at first, it can just expire if too much time passes, the person who made the offer can take it back any time before it's accepted, and then there's the more dramatic stuff. If the desk tragically burns down in the fire, or the person making the offer passes away, well, the offer is terminated. So, in the end, our pair successfully navigated that whole legal dance. They started with a simple online ad, which we now know was just an invitation. That led to Priya making an offer, which led to Ben's counteroffer, and finally, Priya's clear, communicated acceptance. Boom, they've got a contract. What's so fascinating is that these principles, some of them come from court cases that are over 100 years old, but they form this invisible architecture for our modern lives. Every single time you click Buy Now online, or sign a job offer, or even just order a pizza, you are participating in this timeless dance of offer and acceptance.
So, here's a final thought for you. Think about the last time you bought something online or agreed to terms and conditions. Who was making the offer? What was the specific action that counted as your acceptance? Now that you know the steps, you'll start to see these contracts forming all around you. Thanks for tuning in.